A very good afternoon and welcome to KTN Business today. We want to get into an interesting conversation that has defined headlines for a number of weeks now, and that was the mining summit which happened last week in the country. And we want to explore this matter, and right now we're joined by Stephen Kuria, who is from the Kenya Australian Chamber of Commerce and is also a mining expert, to just take stock of really what were some of the key highlights from this particular summit. Many thanks, Stephen, for joining us.
All right, thank you, Mr. Agina. Nice to be here. I think starting with the summit went pretty well. A lot of speakers, and it's good for the first time to see international flavor in effort. And I think it's a good time now when you have seen the Mining Act being passed. So it was a good time to consolidate. And also the fact is that we are now seeing a good extensions of exploration of acacia, and also seeing what is happening in Kuria with the base resources. So it's a good time to talk about the actual mining hub. The CS, Honorable Dan Kazungu, was quite clear that they want Kenya to become the mining hub of Africa. And the conversation is, what's the journey from where we are to become a center of mining hub?
All right. Yeah. And Stephen, you've raised an interesting point that Kenya wants to be the mining hub. And looking at the sector currently, it contributes less than 10 billion shillings to the country's GDP. And if you were to compare this with countries like South Africa, Ghana, Nigeria, I mean, Kenya is not even scratching the surface. So really, where are we as a country when it comes to the extractives? What needs to be done so as to take it to the next level?
Excellent question, and it's true. I'm based in Australia, Western Australia. Iron ore itself give us 58 billion to Australian currency, or to our GDP. So here we see 1% of mining GDP for Kenya.
Sure.
So it's quite small, although there's a talk that we have grown to 9%. My view is that there's a lot need to be done, and to be honest, not just the high service. Places like Migori, there's a lot of minerals. We got granite in Vihiga. We need to have a good roadmap of how to get there. And mainly, we've been talking about capacity, capability building, and also compliance and the rules. Because if you go to Migori now, you find people working with some
without proper equipment.
Yeah, without proper equipment, people being buried, and so those where we need for our people to understand how is a TCS mine supposed to operate. The health and safety rules and regulations need to be cascaded down to the ground floor. So capacity building, we lack experience, and I'm not talking from the TCS miners, is the whole industry. And that's where we are actually quite adamant that we can leverage the Australians' experience, or South African or Canadian. Australia, we are #1 in almost all minerals. So we talk iron ore, gold, producers. And it's been done for us for 100 years. So we have something we have learned from our mistake, and also from the way forward, which Kenya can piggyback from leapfrog, to be honest, from where we are. But going back to your questions, is that we stand high potential, but we have to get our strategy right. And this is some of the area I spoke at the conference. We have to have a strategy right. Then we have to have innovation, because Kenyans are very, very well in innovation technology. The youngsters are picking it up.
Sure.
And then train our people. So it's a three-leg triangle that we have to work with this, and Australia does it pretty well.
All right.
Yeah.
And Stephen, one of the big questions, of course, is right now, even as a country, we are yet to conclude the airborne survey to know how much of minerals we have and how to quantify this. And this has also led to the sector not taking off as it should be. Moving forward, what would be some of the prescriptions for Kenya to actually have a better run at it when it comes to mining?
One of the things which I always talk about, at the moment, the airborne is supposed to start next year sometimes. But airborne is overestimated. These assumptions have been running around the country that you can go on the air and be able to pick precise minerals that are on the ground. That's not possible. You still have to drill, you still have to go on site. That will help us isolate some areas. And to be honest, geologists here are very good. They already know some of our areas in Kenya where we have minerals. But if you look at places like Turkana, it's such a big county, we just need, airborne will help us just to focus on one particular area. But we still need to do our job. And that is our government policies being fastened and quickened so that you can allow investors to go and drill a hole. Because at the end of the day, it's private investors that's going to build the industry. Sure. It's actually not government. And then also in the area of allowing the leases, I think now they only start approving the leases, I think it's 2 months ago. So everything had been on hold for quite some time.
All right.
And I understand some things needed to be settled first before we could go to the mining. But I think it's long overdue to make roads quicker and also allow to facilitate the industry to invest on the drilling program, exploration program.
Okay.
Yes.
And finally, Stephen, where do you see Kenya's mineral sector, say, in the next 5-10 years?
Kenya is unexplored. Yes, we have people in Taveta doing small-scale mining. We have people in Migori doing small-scale mining, all the way to Kajiado. But what we want and is more favorable is bringing large-scale mining. At the moment, we have a lease in Taveta for iron ore, which is very good for construction of metals. It's been in a case for quite some time. So we have seen what base can give. One mine can give 1%. Acacia will possibly give another 6% because the gold grade they have is pretty good.
Sure.
We have 3 or 4 will overtake all the other industry in Kenya for such a small sector. So the potentials are huge.
All right.
Yeah.
Interesting conversation there, Stephen Kuria. Many thanks for debunking for us the myths around the mining sector. Well, we'll be definitely revisiting this conversation in the next coming days, bearing in mind that mining sector is considered as one of the game changers that would see Kenya's economy rethink itself and go to another level.